Hey y'all, it's Shanice, and this is your weekly astrology forecast for February the 2nd through February the 8th, 2026. Now, this is a collective reading, so we are focusing on the signs, degrees, and overall energy of the astrology for the week. I'm going to make it as practical and real life focused as possible and try not to overwhelm you guys who are listening right now. This week has three main themes. So, Uranus stationing direct, Mercury moving into Pisces, and Venus and Mercury are both having tense conversations with Uranus. So, let's get started with who's most affected this week. If you have any placements close to these degrees, you're going to feel it the loudest. So that is 23 degrees Aquarius and 23 degrees Aries. This is Mercury, Chiron, Venus, Chiron energy. It's identity healing, confidence healing, and saying what you mean. Now, the next group is 27 degrees Taurus and 27 degrees Aquarius, with Uranus stationing direct, Mercury and Venus both squaring off with Uranus. This can manifest as plot twists, sudden changes, nervous system spikes, and also money and value system wake up calls. Now, the last group of signs are 29 degrees Pisces and 0 degrees Aries. This is that Neptune energy, Saturn energy. It's bringing up sensitivity, intuition, and maybe even some blurry boundaries coming up. And if you don't know the degrees in your natal chart, you can still feel this energy and also listen to the themes. This can show up as my energy is starting to change, my priorities are changing, and I can't pretend that I'm okay with what I'm not okay with anymore. Now, this week, basically in plain language, Uranus stationing direct. This is change, upgrades, and surprises. It doesn't always show up chaotically. Uranus is the planet of new ways of thinking, so new neural pathways. It's often the truth moving faster than our comfort zones in Taurus, because Taurus represents our comfort zones and like the stability and comfort that we crave. Now, Uranus stationing direct, you might start to do something differently this week. You might have the momentum or the energy to do something differently this week. Now, the second theme that I mentioned was Mercury entering Pisces. So, Mercury is not comfortable in Pisces. Mercury is fallen in Pisces. So, this is a bit of intuition mixed with fog. Mercury in Pisces can make you a bit more creative, though. It can also make you more sensitive psychically, more in tune with your intuition. But also, it can show up as you misreading things or assuming things, maybe even forgetting the details again, because Mercury is not grounded in Pisces. So make sure you are grounding yourself in the way that you communicate, the way that you move and think, or commute, not move. And the last theme is all about relationships and money. It's the energy of being honest with yourself. So Venus is hitting Taurus and Mercury is also hitting Taurus with squares right before they move into Pisces. So Venus and Mercury are both in Aquarius right now. And when Aquarius and Taurus have conversations in the heavens, it shows up as squares. So this is asking us, not this is not the week to just do things to like keep the peace. It's the week to ask yourself, is this sustainable? Is this real? And is this aligned with my values going forward? Taurus And all earth energy, honestly, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, are all about sustainability. So when it's in Taurus, when this energy is showing up in Taurus or activated in Taurus, this is asking us to align with our values, and maybe even recalibrate our comfort zones with that Uranus square. So, how to use this astrology forecast for this week without spiraling. Try and pick one place you need more honesty, whether that is in love, money, or your time. Another thing that you can do is pick one place you need more structure. Maybe it's your sleep schedule, your food routine, like your maybe meal prepping or something. Something to do with your scheduling could show up and ask you to have more structure around that. Also, the last thing that you can do with this energy this week is pick one thing you are willing to change with that Uranus stationing direct. This is support in whatever it is that you want to start differently now. Now, let's get to the day by day breakdown, starting with Monday, February the 2nd. And I'm actually recording this on Monday. I'm so sorry. I always forget to record on Sundays because Sunday is kind of like a rest and a baking day for me. But I have to incorporate or integrate this podcast because I am um, becoming more consistent with this podcast. Uranus in my second house, my natural talents. I love to talk, I love to communicate. So I'm working with this energy in real time. But let's get started with Monday. Monday is the day after the Leo full moon that happened on Sunday afternoon or late evening. And now the moon is in Leo on Monday, forming oppositions. And then Mercury is forming a sextile to Chiron. So Monday kind of starts off loud. The moon is in Leo. Leo is all about confidence and taking up the stage. So the moon in Leo is opposing Venus and Mercury in Aquarius earlier on Monday. So emotions can feel dramatic. Maybe your pride can get triggered with that Leo energy. It's all about pride and ego. And you might feel like I need to do something right now. But we also have Mercury forming a sextile to Chiron. So this energy is good for saying it clean and being honest, naming the real issue and healing through honesty. Now on Monday, watch out for reacting for validation with that Leo energy. It's all Leos love to be validated for being themselves. So this energy can show up with our emotions in Leo on Monday as us reacting to not getting the validation that we want or reacting to some form of validation. So the best use for Monday's energy is to speak directly and then stop. Don't over explain. Leos can tend to over explain things and, try to get people to see their point, but try to just speak clearly, directly, and honestly, and then let things fall as they fall. Now, Tuesday, February the 3rd, Uranus stations direct and the moon shifts into Virgo. So Tuesday's big headline for that day is Uranus stationing direct at 27 degrees in Taurus. This is one of those shifts or stations where something starts to click, something changes suddenly, or you finally accept what you've been resisting. And with the moon in Virgo, your best move for this day on Tuesday is to get practical, tighten up some routines, clean up any money leaks, and simplify your to-do list. Now, Uranus can manifest as anxiety spirals. Personally, every time Uranus is activated in the sky, I have to take a break from smoking because it can like literally cause me to start spiraling and overthinking. So if you have that same, manifestation come up for you, just know that Uranus is stationing direct. This too shall pass. And it's more than likely asking you to do some of the things that I mentioned previously, like getting more practical, tighten up your routines, clean up any money leaks or relationships, and simplify your to-do list. So the best way to use Tuesday's energy is to do one grounding task and let that be enough. Don't be hard on yourself on Tuesday if you aren't able to do everything that you planned to do. Just tighten up those routines and execute one thing at a time if you are feeling this Uranus stationing direct. Now, this is happening at 27 degrees. So if you have any placements between 25 to 29 degrees Taurus, you will feel this the most. I have my moon at 27 degrees in Scorpio, any fixed sign, honestly. So that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius. You will feel this stationing direct the loudest. Honestly, 27 degrees all week will be hit when we'll get to that. I'm jumping too far ahead. So on Tuesday, if you are feeling this energy, like I said, just do one grounding task and let that be enough. Now, Wednesday, Venus in Aquarius will form a sextile to Chiron in Aries. So Wednesday is a supportive day, and it's especially geared towards our relationship healing. So it's not necessarily like a fairy tale type of feeling, or it might not even really be comfortable conversations, but it's asking us to have honest conversations, honest repair, mature softness, and choosing better patterns. So a lot of times we get stuck in a pattern that we not necessarily see. Uranus stationing direct will more than likely help you notice the patterns that you need to change this week. So Wednesday you'll start to see what you need to choose better. If you need to apologize, clarify, or realign, Wednesday is a good day to do it. It's all about repairing, forgiveness, and self-worth type of work. Don't try and fix others. Don't go into like that savior complex or like become a martyr in some way. Just try and be gentle with yourself and those around you on Wednesday, because Wednesday does look a bit sensitive within our money and relationships and our self-worth and values. So Thursday, Mercury will square Uranus, and then the moon will enter Libra. Thursday is a day where you might want to watch your mouth. It's also a day that, you might have some tech glitches or some tech type of issues. Mercury square Uranus can show up as last minute changes, sudden news, glitchy communication, mental restlessness, and impulsive decisions. So pause before you respond, pause before you hit send to some sort of message on Thursday. And just, try to communicate as cleanly as possible and remain flexible in your plans. Now, the moon will be in Libra, so the focus within our emotional world becomes relationships and balancing things. It's all about fairness. Libra is a diplomatic sign in its highest expression, and it's not necessarily a lot of Libras or air energy can detach just to keep the peace. This week is not asking us to do that. Honestly, this month is not asking us to keep the peace. It's all about choosing peace without self-abandonment. So remain flexible this week, and especially on Thursday, and you know watch out for rushing because you feel anxious or trying to hurry up and get something done. Just take things slow. Make sure you are grounding yourself. Make sure you are eating. Uranus is in Taurus. So make sure you are taking care of your body this week, honestly, especially on Thursday when Mercury squares Uranus. Now let's get to Friday when Mercury enters Pisces. So Friday is kind of like a mood shift. Mercury enters Pisces and the mind gets a bit softer, more intuitive, and more imaginative. So Mercury in Pisces is really good for creativity, spiritual practices, journaling, dream work, working with like music and art, and also emotional conversations. but it's not really good for making assumptions and vague promises, unclear agreements. So if it's important, just write it down and then confirm it. Mercury will also station retrograde in Pisces. And we'll probably talk about that next week more because Mercury will start to enter its shadow period for its retrograde. And it will be stationing retrograde during eclipse season. So this month is really, really pivotal for this year. We have a lot of huge aspects happening in the heavens. So just pay attention to what's going on while Mercury is in Pisces for the next month or so. Now, Saturday, the moon will be in Libra and then it will shift into Scorpio. So, Saturday will start off kind of sweet and calm. We'll be focusing on beauty, romance, friendship, even socializing and feeling seen because the Libra moon will form a trine to Venus in Aquarius. So, it's a good day earlier on Saturday to like socialize or do some beauty type of work with that Libra moon, trining Venus, working on our relationships, making sure that we are balancing things. And then the moon will enter Scorpio and the vibe gets deeper. So our instincts will start to sharpen, boundaries will start to matter, and you can feel what's real and what's fake when the moon enters Scorpio. So watch out for power struggles or jealousy and testing people on Saturday. The best use for Saturday's astrology is to have truthful conversations, to be truthful and emotionally responsible, because the moon will start to talk to Pluto, and this can show up as like power struggles and the negative sides, but it's asking us to transform and change something. So if you do tend to be a bit more emotionally immature, Jupiter is in Cancer right now, it's asking you to be more emotionally mature and responsible within your relationships and with your loved ones. Now, Sunday, February the 8th, Venus will square Uranus. And Sunday is the other big headline for the week with Venus squaring Uranus at 27 degrees. This is a relationship plot twist type of energy. It can show up as sudden feelings or having sudden clarity, even sudden detachment from a situation because Venus is in Aquarius. And sudden spending impulses, wanting to have freedom and maybe financial freedom right now. So the healthy way to use this Venus square Uranus energy is to choose honesty, update your standards, and stop forcing what isn't mutual. Now, the unhealthy side of this is self-sabotaging, ghosting instead of communicating. Hello, Aquarius. Spending because you're overstimulated. That's that Uranus and Taurus. So don't make any permanent choices on Sunday from a temporary nervous system or feeling overstimulated. Make sure you are grounding yourself. I can't stress that enough this week because of that Uranus energy in Taurus. It's kind of a shock to our nervous system in a way, in some way, depending on where Uranus is in your natal chart. Look to see what house Uranus is in. Well, Taurus is in, and you will start to see what themes are starting to show up, what Uranus is asking you to change and wake up to. Now, we have some powerful windows to work with, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, with Uranus stationing direct, Venus in Chiron, and Mercury entering Pisces between those days that I just mentioned. So those are some powerful energies or powerful days to work with, repairing your finances, your relationships, even your creativity and your relationship with your intuition. Now, some caution windows Thursday and Sunday with Mercury and Venus both forming squares. Mercury on Thursday, Venus on Sunday. So watch out for like impulsive words, miscommunication, overspending, and then regretting it later. So just be mindful. This week is kind of uncomfortable again to our nervous systems. Now, that's the end of this episode. That's your week. A major Uranus shift, Mercury shifting, and big energy around relationships, money, and nervous system regulations. You can hear, I don't know if y'all can hear the alarm outside, um, but there's an alarm going off that's very Uranus stationing direct type of energy. But if this episode was helpful, please subscribe. I post weekly forecast every Monday, and I'll be dropping short form reminders on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So make sure you drop a comment and tell me what sign or placements you've got around 23 or 27 degrees. And let's talk about this energy and how it's manifesting, because that's where this week is hitting us the most. I'm also working on a Discord soon that I will be announcing. I'm not sure when I will actually launch the Discord. It's called Astrology Nerds. And it's basically a community that I am building that we can talk about these transits. We can talk about what's going on in our life and how it's showing up in the heavens and manifesting in our lives. So, again, if you are interested, make sure you are subscribed. I will be launching that soon so you can get an update. And until next time, I love you guys and peace.